Welcome to your Farm and Home Show. My name is Joanna Coles, and today we're visiting with Kristin Hildabrand. And Kristin, I'm so excited that you're here today. I know that you're the horticulture agent, but you have a gift of presentation and hospitality. And today you're going to share with our viewers how to build a burger bar that will help entertain in the backyard or maybe for a special event.
Yes, so I'm really excited, and I do get excited whenever I have a party theme. I like to go with a theme, and so, May is beef month, so we wanted to play off of that. So the first thing that we did, Joanna, was, instead of a tablecloth or traditional tablecloth, which that can work fine too, but what we had was like a butcher type brown paper, so we went ahead and spread that out first, so that way we have a good foundation to build off of. And then we had galvanized, different serving trays. And so you can really make that pop, especially with a lot of your different fruits and vegetables and things like that you have to go along with that particular theme. So we asked Jason to cook our burgers for us while I did all the other things. So we worked as a team there. So what he did is he just threw those out on the grill. So whichever way that you prefer to do your burgers. And then whenever we brought them inside, we put them in a warmer, and then as I was building the rest of it, we could accent. And so what we did is we put the buns out first. We did put out a sign so that way it alerts your guests that you are having, build your own burgers. And so that kind of notifies to them that you can go ahead and kind of build it the way you want. So we have the buns first, then we placed our burgers out. And then the fun part comes whenever you can kind of put out all the different items to put on a burger. So we had lettuce, tomatoes, we also had different condiments, guacamole, we had some barbecue sauce, mustard and ketchup, pickles. You could add onions if you want to, and we had all the different things that you could have on that tray.
Well, and I think one thing that kind of elevated was you took the condiments out of their normal containers. So instead of having 10 or 12 containers just kind of laying around, they were actually in like clear serving bowls.
That's right.
And so it kind of elevated the look of your condiment tray instead of just having all the bottles.
Right. So we wanted to make sure that looked really nice, and we tried to play, guacamole's here, kind of place it strategically. So that makes it really fun. And just putting the napkins, I think, too, in that particular tray helps kind of give it a little bit of contrast, too, between the galvanized and then all the different pops of color that you have with your condiments. And so we did serve some sweet corn along with our burger. So we had that as a side option, as well as some strawberry dessert. So that way that you can have it up with your burger for a little bit of sweetness.
Well, and it's perfect because strawberries are seasonal right now. They're in. And so, it was kind of nice. You had the two different colors of heirloom tomatoes as well.
Yes.
And that just adds more color and more variety, and 3 different types of cheeses.
Oh, yeah. I can't forget the cheese. I'm glad you took me back there. Yeah, so we had some American cheese, some Colby Jack cheese, and Swiss cheese. But, there's a lot of different cheeses out there that a lot of people probably prefer for their own burger. So you can kind of use whatever cheeses. I'm glad you mentioned about the heirloom tomatoes because, farmers markets, especially depending on as we get further, out of May and into the summer, there'll be a plethora of different tomatoes that you can choose from. And I really like those beefsteak type tomatoes, so that way that they can fit that burger really nicely. But, everybody seemed to enjoy coming through the line and building their own burger. We had it with our master gardener last class, so they were excited, and what great way to celebrate.
And Kristin, this is the thing. I wouldn't think about doing that, like laying out the hamburger buns. I would just probably leave them in the pack and you pick them up as you go. But people did feel special. They felt like you went the extra mile. And that I think everybody that kind of walked through, even some of the men were like, wow, this is kind of a nice presentation, right? And so, and you offered a lot of variety. Bacon was also an addition that they could add to their burger. But, when you take the time and you're proud of it, probably one of my favorite things is where you wrote what it was on the paper.
Yes.
Because a lot of times when people go through, they might not be sure whether that's barbecue sauce or if they were sweet or dill pickles. And so when you explain that, I think it makes the consumer more comfortable with what they're trying to put together. And Kristin, the labeling I think is also important because some people have food allergies. And so it's important to know maybe what's there. So for maybe any occasion, those labels are important. And if you can't write it on the paper, you can take index cards and fold them and then label what that is.
Right.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.